It's a lovely good evening and welcome to Camnet TV Main News. To present, my name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Top stories in the news tonight. Council's content with the infiltration of CADRES in public facilities charges PF. TIZ downplays the Financial Intelligence Center report. Government disburses over 255 million kwacha to settle debt owed to financial institutions. And in international news, Tanzania's main opposition party leader arrested. And in sports news, Copper Queens beaten by 10 goals to 3.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
Hello once again. We now have the news in detail. Political scientist Musiani Sichone has called on all aspiring candidates to be competitive in selling their ideas and not base their campaigns on personal attacks. Speaking with Camnet TV News, Mr. Sichone states that many politicians nowadays are not dwelling on what exactly they will do for the Zambian people, but basing their campaigns on attacks. He reiterates that such politics are not good for the country, as citizens will fail to hold politicians accountable if no promise is made on what they are going to do for the nation once given the chance to govern the country.
Okay, and the other side are actually dwelling, the ruling party is actually mainly dwelling on the issue to do with perpetuating the issue of showing that the other party is actually tribal and so on and so forth. We've seen some political players, for example, that have shied away from actually this type of campaigning. But the issue actually lies in the fact that we need to emphasize issue-based campaigns rather than personality-based campaigns. You need to sell the manifestos just as they come. So political players, we've seen a situation where they're not dwelling on what exactly they want to do for the Zambian people or what they are going to do. Half the time a campaign is actually based on personal attacks of different political players. But I want to actually call upon all stakeholders and actually political parties that will be competing and contesting in this election. We want to hear what you're going to do for the Zambian people. We want you to sell your manifestos just as you have coined them in your different brochures.
Ahead of the August 12 pause, the National Child Rights Forum has observed with concern that most political party manifestos do not show commitment in addressing children's issues in line with international treaties which Zambia is signatory to. Speaking on behalf of a consortium of civil society organizations, Media Network on Child Rights and Development Executive Director Henry Kawe says political parties must demonstrate commitment to resolve children's issues. Addressing a media briefing in Lusaka Wednesday, Mr. Kawe demanded that the Children's Code Bill should be enacted in the first session of the National Assembly post the general elections.
The existence, relevance, prosperity of any nation depend on how it safeguards the plight of children. The United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, UNRC, is a legally binding international agreement setting out the civil, political, economic, social, and cultural rights of every child, regardless of their race, religion, or abilities. Zambia has also signed the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child, and the National Child Forum urges political leaders to take a keen interest in addressing children issues.
Of organizations that promote child rights in Zambia has noted with concern that the campaigns and manifestos have not shown commitment to addressing a number of challenges facing children in Africa, Zambia in particular. Zambia is a signatory to both the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, CRC, and the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child. As a result, all political parties aspiring to become the principal duty bearers of children's rights should feel obliged to prioritize these covenants and show commitment to addressing challenges affecting children in Zambia.
Speaking on behalf of the consortium of civil society organizations, the Media Network on Child Rights and Development Executive Director Henry Kawe says the Children's Code Bill must be enacted once Parliament begins sitting.
We demand that the Children's Code Bill be enacted within the first sitting of Parliament. So after the election, the first sitting of Parliament should be able to enact the Children's Code Bill. The Code Bill will harmonize legislation on children's rights in Zambia, and its delay has continued to reflect negatively, with Zambia being one of the countries that is not child-friendly in continental monitoring mechanisms, especially by the African Child Policy Forum, SCPF.
And Mr. Kawe says they will present their demands to all political parties participating in the August 12 pause.
There will be need for the leaders that will form government to revisit the expanded Bill of Rights to ensure that the 10 aspirations are anchored in the highest law of the land, the Constitution. We shall distribute these demands to the political party presidential candidates that are contesting on the 12th of August 2021.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
The Women for Change has called on Zambians to support women participating in the 12th August 2021 pause, saying this will be a step towards eliminating gender disparities in the country. Sustainable Development Goal number 5, established by the United Nations in 2015, to which Zambia is a member, seeks to achieve gender equality by 2030. Women for Change Executive Director Ms. Lumba Sianga tells Camnet News that due to the low number of women in decision-making positions, issues affecting women are not well taken care of. We have more in the following report.
12 August 2021 pause for Zambia's general elections is drawing closer, and the Women for Change has called for a mindset change among Zambians, saying they should consider female candidates when voting, as this is key to achieving gender equality in the country. Zambia is signed up to the United Nations UN Sustainable Development Goals, which were established in 2015, with goal number 5 aiming at achieving gender equality by 2030. Women for Change Executive Director Ms. Lumba Sianga says due to low representation of women in decision-making positions, policies that aim at supporting women are still few. She was speaking to Camnet News in an exclusive interview.
Increasing the numbers of women in decision-making, because in Parliament, that's where decisions are made in cabinet, policies. So that's when, as a country, we can equalize in terms of addressing the various challenges that women face. If you have more women, it will mean issues to do with women will be attended to and given the attention that they deserve in the policy development.
Ms. Sianga further says there is need for sensitization by community leaders among Zambians, saying the current traditional beliefs do not place women in decision-making positions.
And just to look back, we still have quite a number of cultural barriers that hinder women's participation. There's still a very strong belief when you talk to people who they are preferred candidates. Mostly they will point at men because we are still at a stage where women's leadership is still not appreciated because of the cultural barriers. So we have to do a lot of sensitization to sensitize communities that women also have a right to participate in politics, and they can be as good leaders as men.
The Women for Change Executive Director further says until women are given equal leadership opportunities, achieving gender equality will remain a challenge. Zipporah Mushala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Patriotic Front National Mobilization Committee member Bizwe Mutale has charged that local authorities in the country are happy with the presence of political cadres in bus stations, hence the reasons they have not been complaining. Speaking when he featured on Wednesday's edition of The Verdict on Camnet television, he says cadres share the proceeds of their activities with the councils. Meanwhile, Mr. Mutale claims that the PF government has prudently invested in the borrowed money, the resources in development sector. He says no country can single-handedly develop without borrowing resources. We have details in the following report.
Zambia has in the last 10 years under the Patriotic Front government witnessed massive infrastructure development ranging from roads, bridges, hospitals, schools and markets, just to mention a few. With investments visible in the sight of all, the government has also in the last 10 years overborrowed just to fund the infrastructure developmental projects. This has seen the government default the settling of the debt, a situation that puts the country in an awkward position for future borrowing. And speaking when he featured on a special edition of The Verdict on Camnet TV, Patriotic Front National Mobilization Committee member Bizwe Mutale has charged that the Patriotic Front government has prudently invested the borrowed resources in developmental sectors.
There is no country on the planet Earth that will say that it does not borrow the money. The institution for borrowing money, they are there and we have to utilize them. There's the relationship that actually you have to enter into an agreement wherever the borrower is. We've got that right to do so as a nation. And whatever resource that, if you tell me that Zambia has borrowed $1 billion and we cannot see where the $1 billion has gone to, and I'll join you into that. But whatever Zambia has borrowed, it has gone to the good use. And we are seeing it. There are so many infrastructure that we need.
Additionally, Mr. Mutale says the government has not been silent when dealing with corruption, but has allowed the relevant authorities to take charge of all corrupt activities.
All these bodies need to gather the relevant information to suffice the case. Even when you go to pounce on the minister to say, you know what, minister, step down on this based on this and that, also the minister needs to defend himself. It's a process. But when the reality of the matter has come to surface and the proof is there into these bodies, the intelligence, ACCA and Office of the President, there is a room to do that internally. And the President can only act when he's got sufficient information.
But when asked why political cadres have taken over bus terminals across the country, Mr. Mutale says the local authorities have no issue with cadres being in bus terminals.
As Zambians. Number two, the municipalities, they are correcting their resource. If I want to say the municipalities don't have the capacity to meet what the cadres are doing, the cadres are paying to the municipalities. They are paying to the municipalities. But again, maybe we must say they've got a share in what they're correcting. When the cadre corrects, they say 20 kwacha today, they will pass maybe 15 kwacha to the 12 kwacha, whatever, to the municipality. The remaining, there is also management need to be compensated. It came way back. Don't condemn them now. If the council is failing to meet that and maybe collect the revenue and so on, let the council deal with. Council has not come out and complain to say we're not collecting the revenue. Council has not come out. So not point a finger to the council. The council is comfortable. And the council is collecting their revenue. Until council can come out and say, we are not collecting the money because these cadres.
Judgment Day for political leaders is approaching with 21 days left to go. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Transparency International Zambia, TIZ, has described the newly released 2020 Financial Intelligence Center FIC annual report as shallow, stating that it is too general and lacks detail which will be helpful to the public or law enforcement agencies who may wish to follow up the reported financial crimes. TIZ Chapter President Mr. Sampa Kalunga has challenged the FIC to produce the usual trends report per sector as it has done since 2015 and not an annual report which talks about financial crimes in general. Mr. Sampa further says the report also does not state how issues raised in the previous 2019 report were handled, thus making it likely that the issues were brushed aside. We have details in this report.
Transparency International Zambia TIZ says it has finished analyzing the newly released 2020 Financial Intelligence Center FIC report and is appalled by the lack of detail in the report. The newly released FIC annual report shows that, among other things, the country lost over 2 billion kwacha to alleged corruption activities. TIZ chapter president Mr. Sampaka Lungu says in comparison to the usual trends report released by the FIC, the 2020 annual report does not show which sectors the report came from and also does not specify who engaged in these activities. He says this makes the report unhelpful to the public or to law enforcement agencies who may want to follow up the financial crimes.
Transparency International Zambia therefore challenges the FIC to give the Zambian public a justification for this fundamental change in not providing a trends analysis report, which has been the norm for the last 6 years. Secondly, lack of depth on the issues raised in the report. The 2020 annual report has provided a lot of information focusing merely on numbers without going into the details behind the numbers. There is, for example, mention of the 18 analyzed reports of corruption with a value of 2.2 billion. The report is deafeningly silent on what the individual composition of these 18 reports is. Who is involved in these cases? What is the nature of these reports?
Mr. Sampa has also expressed concern that there is no mention of how issues reported in the 2019 Trends report were followed up. Meanwhile, Republican and Progressive Party RPP President Mr. Leslie Chukuse has aired similar concerns.
We would like to see an FIC report in future, or even now, that will be specific on which areas of government. Is it the Ministry of Finance? Is it which ministry? Is it agriculture and so on? So that we spend more time or scrutiny to specific individuals that are creating the malfunctioning of the ministries and those that are abrogating the procedures of how to manage the finances.
Zipporah Mushala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
A policy think tank has challenged government to inform the nation of the total amount it has not remitted to financial institutions from the deductions it has been effecting through payroll. The Center for Policy, Trade and Development, CTPD Head of Research, Boyd Mulea, says he is aware that the government has been deducting money without remitting to financial institutions. Mr. Mulea has further demanded that government releases statistics on the number of civil servants that are indebted and clearly state the measure of vulnerability that was applied to determine the extent of this problem against other pressing needs in the economy. He says the debt swap approach is selective, as several Zambian individuals employed in the private sector or indeed on self-employment have debt obligations to financial institutions and deserve to be helped as well.
It is our considered decision as CTPD to issue a statement on the supposedly debt swap. I think there is need to address the issue of the definition of what a debt swap entails. Clearly, what is happening is not a debt swap, but it is a debt restructuring, which we as CTPD believe it is just a duty of convenience that the government is trying to give into the civil servants. We believe that the restructuring process has implications, and one of the major implications is the fact that it has the ability to actually make civil servants believe that their loans will be cleared, but then that's not the actual situation. That has an implication of changing their pattern of spending, which could actually be detrimental to already the distressed situation that they're currently in.
Advocates for National Development and Democracy Executive Director Samuel Banda has welcomed the government's decision to enter into a debt swap program with civil servants. Mr. Banda says the debt swap program government has embarked on could not have come at a better time, and the PF government should be commended for making it possible. He says the civil servants and the Zambian populace at large have not been spared from the economic effects of COVID-19 pandemic, Hence, the debt swap program will bring much needed relief to the Zambian citizens.
Has embarked on couldn't come at a better time. And the PF government, under the leadership of His Excellency Dr. Edgar Chagwalungu, should be commended for making it possible. Civil servants and the larger populace have not been spared by the economic effect of COVID-19. Hence, we believe the debt swap program will provide a relief to the civil servants and our citizens. However, it is our advice to the civil servants and all the beneficiaries of the relief to ensure they use a window period of 3 months.
The Ministry of Finance has announced that government has today, the 21st of July 2021, released 55.3 million kwacha funding to clear all the third-party obligations to commercial banks. Speaking at a virtual meeting with commercial banks and other financial institutions to liaise on the implementation of the Civil Service Debt Swap Initiative, Ministry of Finance Accountant General Kennedy Musonda says the Treasury has also released 200 million kwacha third-party payments to microfinance institutions for the months of March and April 2021. Mr. Musonda has assured stakeholders that third-party obligations to banks are up to date, while outstanding dues to microfinance institutions would soon be cleared. The Accountant General further told the online meeting that in the intervening period, the government has agreed to continue consultations with the Bankers Association of Zambia to ensure mutual satisfaction in the implementation of the debt swap initiative. He has since instructed banks and lending institutions not to extend salary-backed loans to civil servants until the reconciliation process is concluded. Mr. Musonda has since assured the meeting that third-party obligations to banks are up to date, while outstanding dues to microfinance institutions would be cleared.
As you may be aware, the government embarked on the debt swap for civil servants in order to cushion them through the indebtedness that they have with the different lending institutions. The exercise will be conducted within the 3 months, starting from this month, July, up to September. During this stated period, the government will not make any loan-related deductions from the civil servants' salaries. Although this will be the case, we will continue to service the outstanding obligations to the banks and the microfinancing institutions. So what this entails is that on the pay slips of the civil servants, whatever is supposed to be serviced as a loan obligation by the civil servants, this will be done by the government. The actual payment of the debt will be done by the government. And during this period, we expect that no new loans will be extended by the commercial banks or microfinance companies to the civil servants. The reason why we have frozen the deduction of the loans is to help us with the reconciliation, both on the payment and on what government is owing these civil servants.
Police in Lusaka have arrested 5 suspects who were seen proposing violence whilst brandishing offensive weapons in a video that went viral on social media. Those arrested have been identified as Justin Chanda, Joseph Vesa, James Sikalumbi, Joseph Chanda, and Kasim Lungu. They were picked up in the early hours of today, the 21st of July 2021, at about 03 hours from Lusaka's Chazanga area. And Zambia Police spokesperson Esther Katongo says the men are yet to be charged with proposing violence.
They are yet to be charged with the offense of proposing violence, which is contrary to Section 91, subsection A and B of Cap 87 of the laws of Zambia. One suspect is still on the run, and a manhunt has been launched. This is a warning to all those that would want to commit offenses through social media, thinking that they cannot be traced. Those of you that have not yet been arrested for similar offenses should begin counting your days.
You're watching Camnet TV Main News. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
In this fast-paced era of industrial boom and population growth, there is need to invest in smart ways of managing electricity and water consumption and reducing utility billing costs associated with the postpaid billing system. At Savenda Electronics, we manufacture right here in Zambia different types of high-quality smart electricity and water meters to customer specifications. Savenda Electronics water and electricity meters help you monitor your usage and gives notifications such as low units, tampering, low battery, and many other features. These easy-to-use meters makes it easier to buy units even in these COVID times and top up just from the comfort of your space. Favorable contract terms are available to both electricity and water utilities. For more details, get in touch with us on the following numbers: 0956 580 349 or 0977 498 318. Savenda Electronics, the real deal.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Master Signs. Our services range from outdoor, indoor signage such as billboards, banners, 3D light boxes, pylons and neon signs. We are located at plot number 397A, Makeni Road, Lusaka, at Oryx Filling Station. For more details, call us on +260 967 100 090 or +260 966 999 981, or better still, email us at infomastersign@gmail.com. Master Sign, we will make it shine.
Harry Mwanga Nkumbula International Airport, located just 15 kilometers from the Victoria Falls, is now one of the best and busiest airports that Zambia has. Vote for Edgar Chagwalungu and the PF that have brought you change.
Are you a small to medium enterprise looking to advertise your products and services within your community and across Zambia? In these economic times, we are here to help you grow your business. Advertise with us on Camnet Market. Camnet Market is offering lower rates for prime time advertising between 06 to 18 hours every day to give your business an edge under the new normal and beyond. For more details, contact us on the following numbers: 097 975 3010 or 096 296 5883, as well as 096 244 726. You can also reach us via email on info@camnettvafrica.com. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. You're watching Camnet TV Main News. We continue with the news. Zambia's Immigration Office has reported that 19 Zambians have been removed from Namibia by the country's authorities due to various offenses. Immigration Public Relations Officer Namati Nshinka says the group of males aged between 20 and 45 have already been received in the country. Mr. Nshinka says 11 of the victims were removed for illegal fishing, while 6 for unlawful presence, 1 for illegal entry, and another 1 for possession of marijuana. Similarly, 2 Zambians were also received by officers at Sakania border control after they were removed from the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, for staying in that country illegally. The immigration has since advised Zambians, especially those residing in border towns, to respect laws of neighboring countries.
The immigration office at Katimamulilo border control is in receipt of 19 Zambians removed from Namibia by that country's authorities. The group of males aged between 20 and 45 were received on 17th July 2021 after being removed for abrogating various Namibian laws. 11 were removed for illegal fishing, 6 for unlawful presence, 1 for illegal entry, and 1 for possession of marijuana. Similarly, 2 Zambians were also received by officers at Sakania border control after they were removed from the Democratic Republic of Congo for staying in that country illegally. We wish to advise Zambians, especially those residing in border towns, to respect laws of neighboring countries. Any Zambian wishing to travel to any country must ensure that they have the prerequisite documents to enter and remain in that country to avoid the embarrassment of being arrested, prosecuted, or even deported.
The court has dismissed the application for a conservatory order that was sought by 5 non-governmental organizations that will prevent the prosecution of people under the Cyber Security and Cybercrimes Act in its entirety, as Article 28 of the Constitution does not provide for interim orders. In this case, Chapter 1 Foundation, Bloggers of Zambia Limited, Gears Initiative, People's Action for Accountability and Good Governance in Zambia, and Alliance for Community Action have petitioned the Attorney General and the Director of Public Prosecutions as first and second respondents. The 5 NGOs stated that various provisions of Cyber Security and Cybercrimes Act are unconstitutional and need to be struck off from the statute books as they threaten the right to privacy, the freedom of expression, the right to freely impart and receive information, the freedom of conscience, the freedom of the media, and the right to a fair trial. But in its ruling on the application for conservatory order, the court states that it lacks the requisite jurisdiction to grant the conservatory order applied for by the petitioner. We have more in this report.
A recent application for the conservatory order preventing the prosecution of people under the Cyber Security and Cybercrimes Act made by the 5 non-government organizations that have petitioned the state in the Lusaka High Court has been dismissed in its entirety as the provision of the Article 28 of the Constitution cited does not provide for interim orders. In this case, 5 non-government organizations, which include Chapter 1 Foundation, Bloggers of Zambia Limited, Gears Initiative, People's Action for Accountability and Good Governance in Zambia, and Alliance for Community Action, have petitioned the Attorney General and the Director of Public Prosecutions. The 5 NGOs have cited the Attorney General and the Director of Public Prosecutions as respondent and argue that Section 11, 12, 29, 38, 40, 54, 59, 65, 69, 72, and 74 of the Act threatens the right to privacy, the freedom of expression, the right to freely impart and receive information, the freedom of conscience, the freedom of the media, and the right to a fair trial. Petitioners want the court to make a declaration that the above-cited sections are unconstitutional and should be struck off from the statute books. The 5 NGOs had requested the Lusaka High Court to grant them a conservatory order preventing the prosecution of people under the Cyber Security and Cybercrimes Act pending determination of their petition. They submitted that there is a risk of Zambians being unjustly and illegally deprived of their rights if the provision of the Cyber Security and Cybercrimes Act are enforced before the court makes a decision. However, in its ruling on the application for conservatory order, the court has denied granting the application on ground that the effect of the order would be the same as granting the petitioner an injunction. The court further states that if it was persuaded to grant the conservatory order sought by the petitioners, it will not be tenable due to limitation placed by the interpretation of Article 28 by the Supreme Court. The court further states that it lacks the requisite jurisdiction to grant the conservatory order applied by the petitioners. Hence, dismiss it. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The The Lusaka High Court Judge Sharon Newa has sentenced 5 Lusaka men to 4 years imprisonment each with hard labor for stealing a motor vehicle. This was in a matter in which Mike Kawela, James Ngosa, Lakson Msonda, Jeffrey Mwaba and Chileshe Malama pleaded guilty to 1 count of theft of a motor vehicle. The convicts are said to have attacked Mohammed Hanif Patel on the 24th of March 2021, stole his vehicle and 1 million kwacha and $2,000 cash and ran away at his home when he was opening his gate. After investigation, the 5 were apprehended and charged with the offense of aggravated robbery, which was amended to theft of motor vehicle. The state applied that the recovered items, which included 92,821 kwacha and $1,000 cash, cell phones, motor vehicle, house furniture, and an unfinished house bought by Musonda in Kawama Township, Kitwe, be handed to Mr. Patel. In her judgment, Judge Newa sentenced the convicts to 4 years each with hard labor. The Zambia Information and Communications Technology Authority, ZICTA, has called on citizens to use social media responsibly so as to avoid finding themselves as victims of cyber laws. ZICTA Manager, Consumer Protection and Compliance, Mr. Edgar Mulauzi, says citizens are in the habit of posting defamatory statements and sentiments that are likely to destabilize peace in the country. He states that citizens should remember that social media is not detached from reality and any wrongdoings may lead to arrest by law enforcement agencies.
We encourage actually most users in Zambia to use social media responsibly. Social media was meant for social good. However, if you see people now posting maybe content which can be deemed as unlawful or content which violates the rights of others, then we get concerned. So we encourage even citizens as they're using these platforms to always bear in mind that every citizen have got their rights and they should also promote the ideals of the Constitution as they go in terms of doing their online activities. And to bear in mind also in terms of a number of laws which have also been passed so that whatever maybe law you violate, remember what I said, social media or the cyberspace is not detached from society. You can be found wanting by law enforcement agencies.
151,200 doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccines have arrived in the country to help in combating the spread of coronavirus. Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary Technical Services Dr. Kennedy Malama says the government is resolved to make sure that more people are immunized. We have more in the following report.
Just as promised, the United States through the COVAX have this afternoon delivered 151,200 Johnson & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccines. Receiving the vaccines on behalf of government at Kenneth Kaunda International Airport, Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary Technical Services Dr. Kenneth Malama says government is grateful at a gesture shown by the American government.
Therefore, this afternoon, as we receive the vaccines, we pay gratitude to the United States government for supporting the vaccination program globally, but more importantly for Zambia. As it has been said, the 161,200 doses we are receiving this afternoon has been provided by the United States government through the COVAX facility. As you are aware,
Dr. Malama has said the vaccines will go a long way in combating the spread of COVID-19.
Through the COVAX facility. As you are aware, Zambia and the United States of America government have a long-standing collaborative relationship, not only in HIV and AIDS, malaria, tuberculosis, but also in fighting COVID-19. The support is not only for the vaccination program, but in many other health programs. The focus has been on health system strengthening.
Meanwhile, American Embassy Deputy to the Ambassador David Young has said it is the American mandate to help out developing countries such as Zambia.
This has been a very challenging moment, and it continues to be so for so many families. Zambia has lost way too many wonderful citizens over these past months, and as friends and partners, we agree with you. We express our sympathy. However, we will continue working together to make a difference and turn the corner in the
fight against COVID-19.
Responsibility remains to every citizen to get vaccinated. Blessings, Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
You're watching Camnet News. We take another break. We'll be back with international and sports news.
For too long, Zambian people have endured tough times, high levels of unemployment, lack of freedom, ever-increasing cost of living, poor health facilities, corruption, and injustice. Time and time again, we have been promised a better tomorrow, but things are only getting tougher. My fellow Zambians, someone is listening. Every outcry, every obstacle and pain brought by the trials and tribulations you're facing, he is listening. A leader with a heart for the people of Zambia. Only he can fix what is broken. A leader who stands for unity and prosperity across all ethnic, religious, and gender considerations to live in harmony in a free and democratic society. Change is coming. Change that will restore the country and build it from the ground up. Let's make impactful change by voting Hakainde Ichilema.
Good day to you, our dear esteemed customers. As Zamtel, we're glad to bring something of excitement to you, and it's a promotion we've dubbed Yatu, which simply means it's yours. And in this promotion, we're giving benefits that are tailored to you specifically as a customer, depending on the profile or the segment that you're sitting on as a customer. And in this promotion, we are saying you will get from as low as 13 benefits amounting to over 500%, and it's all for you so that you get more benefits. So to know more about Yatu, stay on.
Yatu is a promotion that offers Zamtel customers amazing benefits that are made just for you. Zamtel customers will get amazing benefits of over 500% bonus back the value that they use when they subscribe to a Yatu offer. Yatu benefits will be usable for Zamtel to Zamtel calls, Zamtel to Zamtel SMSs, and browsing on pay-as-you-go defined rates. For you to access the amazing Yatu offers, all you have to do is dial *335# and select option 1 to purchase the offer that best suits you. Zamtel customers will have the ability to actually purchase the Yatu benefit more than once. So this means you can purchase the offer twice, you can purchase the offer 3 times, and the benefits will be accumulative at the end of the day. Yatu benefits will be able to be redeemed if you subscribe to the same offer within a 5-day period. So if you have unused benefits from the previous day and the expiry date comes, you can still subscribe to the same offer within 5 days and your benefits will be able to accumulate. How amazing is that? For you to check your Yatu benefit balance, all you have to do is dial *335# and select option 2 and you'll be able to see your current balance.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our Zesco units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962-642-490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties, on +260 762 166018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
Welcome back. In international news, the leader of Tanzania's main opposition party, Chadema, and other members were arrested early Wednesday, the party said, ahead of a planned conference to demand constitutional reform. Freeman Mbowe and 10 Chadema members were rounded up in the dead night in the northwestern port city of Mwanza, it said on its Twitter. The other Chadema members were taken to Mwanza police station, but there was no information about Mbowe's whereabouts. Meanwhile, Haiti has a new prime minister after 2 weeks of uncertainty following the assassination of its president. The death of Jovenel Moise led to a power struggle. Now, following international pressure, Ariel Henry has emerged as the troubled nation's new leader. The 71-year-old neurosurgeon and former cabinet minister says he plans to meet representatives of various sectors of society in the coming days to build a political consensus to address the problems Haiti faces.
Leader of Chadema, Tanzania's main opposition party, and other members of the party have been arrested. The arrest of Freeman Mbowe and 10 others come ahead of a planned conference to demand constitutional reforms. It also comes 4 months after Tanzania's first female president, Samia Suluhu Hassan, took office in March following the sudden death of her predecessor, John Magufuli. According to the party, Freeman Mbowe and 10 Chadema members were rounded up in the dead of the night of Wednesday in the northwestern port city of Mwanza. The party, in a tweet, condemned what it called the repression of the rights of Tanzanians with the strongest force. It described this as a sign that the dictatorship that existed during the rule of President John Magufuli continues. There have been high hopes that current Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu Hassan would usher in a change from the rule of our predecessor, who was nicknamed the bulldozer for his uncompromising leadership style.
The formal swearing-in of Ariel Henry as Haiti's new prime minister is an attempt to end days of uncertainty following the assassination of President Jovenel Moise. Acting Prime Minister Claude Joseph appeared to be in charge following the brazen attack on Moise. He stepped aside to allow Henry to take the reins. The 71-year-old neurosurgeon is calling for unity, but he's facing a long list of social and political issues.
We will create a secure, reliable and stable environment to facilitate political activities throughout the country. We will expect massive participation in the next presidential elections, the highest participation of citizens of voting age.
Henry has appointed his cabinet with the goal of leading Haiti to new elections. That's been problematic previously, leading to Moise ruling by decree, but Haiti's future may depend on a free and fair vote.
This government won't think for the people. They're unpopular. They're only thinking for the elite again, at the expense of the Haitian people. We can't expect anything serious from this government.
We say to this new government, welcome, because we the Haitian people, we want actions from them. We would like the new government to solve the crisis of the country, to solve the problems of slum neighborhoods.
Many Haitians see these as dangerous times, and Henry's international backing is regarded by some as a problem.
Anybody they sort of back or anoint or push is going to be seen with a lot of skepticism by the Haitian people, I think. People are very wary of international community involvement in Haiti at this time. But of course they want aid, but they don't want the interference and meddling.
Memorial services for 53-year-old Jovenel Moise are being held, even as the investigation into his assassination continues. On Tuesday, Haitian authorities made more arrests, including people said to be police officers, but they appear no closer to finding out why he was killed.
The cowardly assassination of the President of the Republic constitutes a real national drama. We have a duty to consider it as such, including those in hiding and in any counter-conflict.
While the international community is pushing this impoverished nation to hold elections, others say voting won't solve Haiti's problems. Many key institutions have failed, gangs control large parts of Port-au-Prince, and the economy lays in ruins. The stakes for Haiti couldn't be higher.
This is set to become a very familiar sight for people in France. A health pass is now compulsory in certain cultural and leisure venues such as theme parks, museums, cinemas, theatres, gyms and libraries. The document is proof that someone is either fully vaccinated, has tested negative in the last 48 hours, or has recently recovered from COVID. A move by the government which has sparked some controversy, but has been welcomed by others.
Je pense que c'est un outil bien utile donc et qui, je pense, va rassurer tout le monde.
C'est sûr qu'après, les gens qui ne sont pas vaccinés, qui n'ont pas fait le texte, vont pouvoir sortir, ne rien faire, mais bon, c'est un choix, quoi, voilà.
Venues have been racing to prepare for the new measure. Paris's aquarium has urgently recruited 4 employees and has bought the technology needed.
Des téléphones comme ceci avec l'application pour pouvoir scanner donc les passes sanitaires des clients, voir si le pass est validé. Puis après on a le nom et les prénoms parce qu'on va contrôler aussi la pièce d'identité. On a dû faire ça vraiment très rapidement.
Masks will not be compulsory in venues where a health pass is required. Fines will be issued to businesses who do not check their customers' passes.
En gros, c'est quoi? C'est nous les gendarmes aujourd'hui, c'est nous la police. Et en plus, on a un bâton qui peut nous tomber dessus si on ne fait pas bien la police. Je suis un peu dubitatif.
The government has said there will be some flexibility this week. A wider extension of the health pass that will cover bars and restaurants will take effect at the beginning of August. Employees in venues where a health pass is required for entry will have until the end of August to get fully vaccinated.
It's now time for sports news. And in sports news, Copper Queens have this afternoon lost by 10 goals to 3 in favor of Netherlands in the ongoing Olympic football tournament, which has kicked off today. That sporting item brings us to the end of the news. We'll take a look at the headlines once more. Council's content with the infiltration of cadres in public facilities charges PF. TANZANIA'S downplays the Financial Intelligence Center report. Government disburses over 255 million kwacha to settle debt owed to financial institutions. In international news, Tanzania's main opposition party leader arrested. And in sports news, Copper Queens beaten 10 goals to 3. The Camnet Wild verse of the day is coming from the book of Leviticus 19, verse 18, and it reads, "Do not take revenge or bear a grudge against members of your community, but love your neighbor as yourself. I am Yahweh." On that note, we've come to the end of our news. Thank you for watching. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Bye-bye.